big feet, small feet, can't go to the mall feet, flat feet, fat feet, stuck on your back feet, itchy feet, sore feet. You better not ignore feet in the house and on the street. How many, many feet we meet. No kidding around. Taking care of your feet is serious business. Town Square Family Foot Care is here for the little things like ingrown toenails, the common things like diabetic foot care, and the serious things like ulcers and surgery. Keep your family active and happy with healthy feet. Online scheduling and evening appointments available. Call 341-FOOT and visit 341foot.com.
Every business these days needs a website. Big Imprint provides quality, affordable website design for small businesses and nonprofits. Their nimble team is more than a freelancer, but smaller than a full-blown ad agency. Big Imprint is a perfect fit for many small organizations. They offer patient-friendly tech support to all clients by phone or email. Phone consultations are free. Just call 800-940-1055 to see if Big Imprint is a good fit for your business. I bet they will be. Visit their website, bigimprint.com, for samples of their creative design and success stories from many happy clients. Local, live, friendly, professional Big Imprint. 800-940-1055.
The Hilltop Tavern still offers the best lunches and dinners around, but what if you're hungry at midnight? The Hilltop's kitchen is open till 1 in the morning, so whenever you're hungry, the Hilltop is there for you. You're going to love the Hilltop's new menu, and you'll really love the Hilltop's Monday through Friday lunch and drink specials. The Hilltop Tavern, Northside, Iowa City's very favorite neighborhood watering hole, 1100 North Dodge, or visit HilltopTavernNorthside.com. Great food, great drinks, and great friends.
Thank you for calling TS Iowa. TS Iowa is a provider of Panasonic digital and voice-over IP telephone systems, network infrastructure, including voice, data, and fiber optic cabling, paging systems, and a complete line of surveillance systems. Call TS Iowa at 319-333-7714. That's 333-7714. Or visit TS Iowa on the web at www.tsiowa.net.
More and more we see people coming in that do have allergy problems that are looking for solid surface floors, and we take that to the next level with the Healthier Living installation. We get some pretty neat reactions from people. I'm Brad Stork with Bachmeyer Carpet One Floor and Home. We're doing that same thing that we used to do only in carpets, but doing it for all floors. We go through and we do a HEPA filter vacuuming throughout the entire area. Then we go through with a antibacterial, antifungal spray, and then we install your floors. What it does for you as far as removing allergens and everything, it's fantastic. A Healthier Living installation has been approved by doctors. It's one of the biggest things you'll ever see in flooring as far as your comfort in your home. We try to make sure that we offer things that no one else can give you. Bachmeyer Carpet One in Coralville, 3402 Merchant Street, across from Tyson's.
When it comes to Mexican food in the Iowa City area, you have a lot of choices, but El Bandito stands out from the rest. Try the Carnitas Burrito, delicious pork with arbol salsa and sour cream, covered in salsa verde and served with home-fried potatoes with rajas. El Banditos uses only locally grown produce and meats, always fresh, never frozen, and all dishes are handmade and prepared from family recipes. Check out El Banditos at 327 East Market Street in Iowa City. Takeout's available. Call 358-2836. Visit them online at elbanditosiowacity.com.
From the Hertine and Stalker Studios in the heart of the Hawkeye Nation, this is the mighty 1630 KCJJ, Iowa City. This is CNN.
Morning to you. We are getting some heavy rains falling here at the studio, and it's supposed to keep up throughout the day. Some weather could be severe. If it is severe, of course, we'll break in to programming and bring you coverage of it and what's going on, what isn't. But we could get some rains that causes some ponding on some of our major roads. So just be careful and don't cross it if it's covered with water. Weather brought to you by the Westport Touchless Auto Washers.
Here is your KCJJ forecast. It is going to rain, and it is going to be heavy here later today and tonight. We could get a half inch to an inch or more of rain through tonight. Today, cloudy showers and thunderstorms likely with a high of 78 today. The wind out of the southeast at about 5 to 15, and again, heavy rain likely today. More rain this evening, low down to 64, and then tomorrow it will be partly cloudy and warmer with a high of 77. I'm meteorologist Sean Cable on the mighty 1630 KCJJ. Right now at our studios, it's 70.
Time for AllHawkeyes.com, brought to you by Premier Automotive in North Liberty. Hit a deer. Call Premier. Steve Anderson, Hawkeye Title and Settlement. Mike's Lock and E-Keys for cars. Supple Siding and Remodeling, GT Carr and his crew. Sittler's LED Supplies. Supple's Flowers, the home of 1-800-800-ROSE. The Ox Yoke Inn. Also Zephyr Printing and Design and Imprinted Ink on the Ped Mall. And Big Dog TV and Internet, serving all of eastern Iowa. Dish, DirecTV, Internet, and more. Call Kevin and his crew. Don't call an 800 number. Call local. Call Big Dog at 338-6600. From allhawkeyes.com, it's Pat Harty.
Good morning.
How's it going, Pat?
It's going. Big Ten Network's here in town. What a bad day to be here.
What are they? Oh, are they?
They're over there. It's their day doing Iowa's practice. It's unfortunate. It's gonna have. They got the nice big practice facility, but you'd still much rather be outside.
Yeah,
a lot more room outside, and you can just get a better
visuals.
Just get a better visual and everything. But yeah, this is we need this rain though, don't we?
Well, we need it over a period of time
instead of like 3 inches in the next 4 hours, which is what it sounds like we're going to get.
We're going to get a lot of rain,
but it is better than not having. I mean, it was getting really dry.
Yeah,
some of my bushes that never turned brown were starting to, because I don't consistently water during the summer. It's too expensive.
Yeah, it can be.
Water ain't cheap when you start using a lot of it.
Hexham Hawk, it's not that the stream drops out randomly in the chat room. It's that each segment that we use, we can't restream anything with music on it. So right before this segment, it will always drop off, and you'll always have to come back to it. And after this segment, it will drop off, and you'll have to come back to it.
Yeah, but we've had some where we just go ahead and say, screw it, and we play music.
Yeah,
and
but and we can do that here, but we're backing everything up.
Oh, I see. It's Robert Plant's 70th birthday.
Yeah.
Maybe we should just play Led Zeppelin songs for 90 minutes. And a little Band of Joy. And what do you think of that?
I love Band of Joy.
Then we'll sit out on the couch and I'll watch you guys eat out of the germ jar. Yeah, Robert Plant, happy 70th birthday to Bob. Robert Plant, 70th.
A couple months older than me.
He was young for kind of that era, though, in a way.
Yeah, he was only like 20 when
most of those guys
formed.
Born in 48, so yeah, he was 20 years old when they put out their first.
Yeah,
man, that's incredible.
I know. I was thinking of that this morning. That's crazy.
Because now you get a band that, although I guess they're after 2 albums, I wasn't obviously around. How big was Led Zeppelin after 2 albums?
Oh, huge.
After just those first 2,
one and 2,
huge.
See, I mean, because obviously I was.
Well, after the first one,
that came out.
they were on. They were on. I was in top 40. They were on all the freaking.
And you could argue that 1 and 2 were their 2 best albums. You could make a strong case for both of those. But yeah, 70 years old today.
Yeah.
I believe the youngest member of Led Zeppelin.
I remember playing the 45. It was on a 45.
Wow.
On Atlantic Records.
Yep.
Yeah.
Man, it's incredible when you think about it.
Here's Led Zeppelin. Better boogie mix.
Well, then, of course, when they really hit it, and I like the album for Led Zeppelin, Stairway to Heaven.
Yeah.
What's the official name of that album? Is that the Zoso album?
Zoso or Four Sticks or
Four Sticks. Yeah, that's another one. And some great songs on that. Everyone will say Stairway to Heaven, but I still say When the Levee Breaks.
That's one of their
Going to California
songs ever.
And I think Going to California is a classic song.
Oh yeah, it's beautiful.
Oh, that's a great song.
Great song.
I got absolutely so sick of Stairway to Heaven.
I could see.
By the time that KFMH, the original KFMH, closed down, I never wanted to hear that.
I could see that. It did get played over and over.
And requested over and
over. But now I find myself, I've listened to it so infrequently over the last 15 years, every once in a while I'll put it on and it's like listening to something fresh again because you never hear it hardly.
I got renewed very seriously, and I've listened to it since, but I got renewed by Heart doing it at the Kennedy Center.
That's right. I watched
when they tributed Led Zeppelin.
Robert Plant cried.
That was
I saw that. Yeah, that was very neat.
Yeah. Well, Ann Wilson's both of them are huge Led Zeppelin fans.
Mm-hmm.
And she's done, she did a really cool version of the Immigrant Song on a record of hers.
I've seen that. Could you imagine Aretha Franklin doing Stairway to Heaven?
Oh, God, yeah.
God, that would have been incredible.
Yeah.
Because there was never a song I heard her do that she didn't just make it sound really cool, her unique way.
Had a 4-octave range.
Yeah, it was incredible. I mean,
I've got a 1-octave range.
So have you talked to Suter since he's been gone? Don't get any vacation updates from Suter?
Oh, he went to some baseball games. And,
out in California.
Yeah.
Pro or like minor
pro.
league or
no pro.
Like where is he? Angels, Giants, Dodgers.
I think Anaheim he won.
Okay, they're in Southern California.
Yeah.
Would you want to live there?
No. Southern California.
I could live there if I had just every year someone was guaranteeing me $10 million.
I had a chance too.
I suppose if I lived in a smaller town and not like in all the traffic and everything, it'd probably
like
be
Malibu. You wouldn't want to live in Malibu right on the beach.
Don't think so.
That's where a lot of these. Kevin Durant just bought I believe he just bought a huge, like some $29 million mansion. I don't even know how big the house has to be worth $30 million on the beach in Malibu. It could maybe not even be that big of a house. Who knows?
Last time I was in California was 1976, and I was really impressed with the Napa Valley and a little town called Vacaville. It's probably
you
huge
should go
now.
check it out now. I know VACA. I know what you're talking about. I was there in 2015 with Iowa. That was the last time I was there, but it's just so vast. It just when you fly into LA, it just goes on. It's just everywhere. It's so big, and when you're out there and you cover the bowl game, with the Iowa bowl games out there, I was told it was better this time than it was at the previous Rose Bowls, which were before my time, but. People who covered the 90 Rose Bowl said that everything was so spread out. You'd go to something, and then there'd be something else an hour away, and with traffic, it could be two. Just everything out there is so spread out. But the area right around, I'll still never forget. Captain, have you been around the area around the Rose Bowl in Pasadena?
Oh, yeah.
It's so cool. When you drive up through these neighborhoods, you're basically driving through blacktop streets, winding through all these trees, and every home looks different. There's not one home that looks similar to the home next to it. That's what I remember about it, is just how hodgepodge the area, because we took a media bus that just kind of climbed up to the stadium. You could see, and we went through, obviously this person knew exactly where they were going. We went through a lot of side streets, and I was just like, man, these homes are incredible. That's like that, and seeing someone point out, hey, that's where they filmed Batman. Yeah. That was always something, because that's right overlooking on the mountains there.
Well, and the thing that impressed me was how smooth the roads were, because they don't have any,
the roads were all, it was amazing driving through all that stuff, and then unfortunately the game started.
Well,
and the game started and ended right away.
I was there in '79 too, a week before Shane was born, and I hated it. And downtown where I was supposed to work. I was supposed to be a network representative.
So you would have been right there. Yeah, see, that'd be tough.
Yeah, it was smoggy and
expensive.
Oh, yeah. A studio apartment in 1979. A studio apartment was like $1,600.
Jeez,
honest to God, I couldn't. And that was like a mile from. They tried to hire me at Earth News Radio to be a network representative.
Yeah, it would have been a completely different lifestyle.
Yeah,
you would have been going out there the same time. You and Magic Johnson would have arrived you would have been with Magic.
Yeah,
you would have arrived at the same time, the fall of '79. What do you think of that?
I got my first real 6 string.
You think You think LA natives are saying, "Thank God it was Magic instead of you"? No, that's the same time. Them 79, 80. That's his.
I went to the Comedy Store the first night. They took me to the Comedy Store. I saw Jay Leno do.
How big was he in '79?
I don't think he was. He was just starting out.
He wasn't filling in on the Tonight Show. But no, okay. That's hell. I was in junior high then. Wow.
I was just
starting junior high.
Yeah. And they offered me, and at that time I was a disc jockey, $36,000, and I thought, wow.
In LA, that's like making 10.
That is, honest to God.
That would have been. I mean, you could live on 40,000 here now, especially if you're by yourself. Hell, I've been doing it for. I mean, when I combine everything, you can do not in LA. I mean, LA, 40 grand in LA was probably be 80, 90 if you did it the same.
Right.
Probably something like that. So
first time I met McMahon and saw Johnny Carson.
But Jan would have been a teacher out. She would have done her stuff out in LA, right?
Yeah. Driving down right in front of the Brown Derby restaurant, because they took us they took me for a tour. Guy I was with was drunk. he was at the bar. But right in front of the Brown Derby, driving a big freaking convertible Cadillac was George Burns. Honest to God.
Cigar?
Huh? Yes. No, seriously. Yeah, just driving a big boat of a Cadillac.
That is one thing. You go out there, you're going to see it's a different world. The hotel I stayed at for the Rose Bowl was right overlooking that. They always show you that freeway that winds right through downtown L.A. The hotel I stayed at was right there. I mean, it was right. I mean, it was literally 2 blocks from the Staples Center and what have you. And it's just, I don't know. The only way I could live in California is if I could afford to live in California and call all the shots. Then it would be incredible.
Oh, sure.
But if it's a place you live there and you're struggling to afford to live there, it wouldn't be fun. It would be same with Florida.
It'd be bad.
Florida, the difference. Florida, I lived there for a year, and I lived in luxury, but not because of me. I was freeloading. But Florida, you could drive 2 blocks and go from just this beautiful mansion to just the worst. Thing you can imagine. It was so up and down, just so
never wanted to do
too humid. I love the weather in California, way better than Florida.
I went there, took Shane there for Disney World. We went there. It rained every day at 4:00. It was humid,
just humid, sticky. And
then I went back to Daytona with Mark, my buddy, and man, the people there are racist. They really are.
Oh, Daytona?
Yeah.
That's where I went for my high school spring break trip. I remember that. God,
Yeah.
30 some years ago. Yeah, that's where me and about 6 other friends rented a big, huge mobile home and drove it down to Daytona. And I was the one who was the least. They wanted to drive the least because a lot of these guys had their car there, and I had trouble putting gas in the car at that stage. I just
see any breasts?
What's that?
Breasts?
Well, I mean, no, but what I can't talk about that stuff on the air. But the one time I had to drive was at the hotel, and I drove it was a big mobile. We all pitched in, help with our parents. We all pitched in like $300. This thing cost like $1,800 to rent for a week. It was huge, but it was nice. And we're driving, and I drove it underneath the hotel underpass and ripped the air unit off.
We just talked about a woman this morning rolling around naked on.
But I ripped the whole thing.
I
just saw the thing laying in the back, and I'm like, oh, God, we lost our deposit. It was just – and I remember my buddy's like, why did we let you drive? 5 minutes just in the parking lot and look. And there it was. And then we had no air the rest of the – it was not fun. So, but it was not – when it was working nice, it was worth the money. But unfortunately, that happened on like day 3 of a 7-day trip. We were sweating bullets.
No, I don't like it out there.
No, it's humid, so – all right, well, yeah, the Big Ten Network is here today, which means I assume when they do all their stuff tonight, you'll be able to, I'm sure some of my colleagues will probably write stories based on what these guys say, so I guess I'll have to listen to keep up with the Joneses, because I'm covering other media is part of what it has become these days. I mean, whatever these guys say positive about Iowa is going to be, I mean, if Jerry DiNardo comes out, because the one thing you got to do, and I'm not knocking the Big Ten Network, I know they say great things about every school they go to on these visits. They have to. But each school makes it out like it's, whoa, look. I mean, you got to kind of keep it in perspective. I mean, Jerry DiNardo, he's a nice guy. I've interviewed him before. He knows football. But there's a certain slant to what they're saying. They're going to point out some areas and concerns. They can do that. But their overall message is going to be they do it the right way at Iowa. Kirk Ferentz is a great man. This team's got great potential. There's some key concerns. But Hawkeye fans, you got a lot to be proud of and a lot to be excited about. That will be their theme today.
Well, and that's what they're hyping their own product.
Well, yes, they have to. Yeah,
they want to make every matchup on Saturday be the matchup to see.
But it's a new thing now. I mean, and that's not just Iowa. Media writes about what these guys say at each of their stops, and if they say something big, the media look at this, fans, eat this up, here we go. And that's just kind of the world we live in these days.
Yeah, when I saw that article about Colin Cowherd, saying Iowa, it's Nate Stanley is a top 20.
See, somebody wrote an article on that.
Somebody wrote an article.
See, that's just that. I don't know who did, so I don't know who I'm knocking, but that's ridiculous. I mean, who gives a crap what Colin Cowherd thinks? And negatively or positively, who cares?
Yeah, and I think it was in the Daily Iowan, so that, they're learning and everything. But
still, I take if it's a Daily Iowan, that's different. I don't want to rip.
And it's a college paper, so of course they're going to hype up a little.
Yeah, that's different. And they're homers. The Daily Iowan are homers. That's
why
what
wouldn't they be?
They need to be homers. So yeah, I take it back if it was the Daily Iowan. If it was anyone other than that, then I'm just like, come on, who gives a crap what Colin Cowherd? I think it's funny when he said bad things about Iowa, everyone's like, oh, he's an idiot. Who cares what he thinks? Now he says something good. And I've had some people, what do you think of what Colin Cowherd? I'm like, I've thought very little to nothing about it. I couldn't care less.
So
he's a blowgut.
So what kind of reaction have you gotten from the article you posted yesterday?
About my picks?
Yes.
I've gotten more. It's weird because sometimes you judge by how much traffic you get by like retweets and likes, which sometimes I think I get too wrapped up into because I got way more views. I got a lot of views, and I think what it is most of the reaction is they're upset that I don't have them beating Iowa State, but they like the fact that I have them beating Wisconsin. And 8-4, you can't criticize 8-4 because I think that's what a lot of fans think, and I don't think I'm the only one in the media that's picked 8-4. I haven't gotten nothing really nasty. I'm just surprised at how many page views it's gotten so far because I didn't post it until late yesterday, and sometimes posting things on Sunday night is not the best thing, and I just retweeted it about an hour ago. But no, none of the feedback's been, oh, you're an idiot, how can you say that? Some guy did get on there and thinks 9-3, 10-2, and we'll see. I mean, that could be. I mean, I've got them 8-4. 9-3 is not too far from 8-4, and I was going to do my normal thing where I'm going to try to write serious things about each game, and I'm like, what's the point? So I just decided to write silly things about each game, and to me, that's more enjoyable to do that than to just try to always be serious. Now, the games I picked, the scores I picked were what I actually think will happen at this given time, but the comments were just kind of silly. Just to have fun.
The Iowa State comments were my favorite.
I don't even remember what I said.
For the second week in a row at Kinnick Stadium, a head coach is carried off the field after a monumental victory. That's Iowa State winning.
I have Iowa State winning. I'm sorry.
Only this time it's Iowa State coach Matt Campbell who gets the victory ride from paranoid Cyclone fans who refuse to let him down for fear he might take the Ohio State job.
Yeah, just all in fun. And you do try to kind of jab at him a little bit.
Yeah, it was fun to read. I mean, and I understand what you were trying to get at. Do the picks, but let's have fun with it.
Yes.
It's just prognosticating. It's not.
But I tried to be as accurate as I could with what I think is going to happen. And for a while, but I also thought Iowa State was going to beat Iowa last year, and I was wrong. But look how close I was to being right.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I still think Iowa can have a good season. If they do my routine there, if they follow that thing, they have to win a bowl game.
Yeah.
If they go 9-4, fans won't be thrilled. But if they do that scenario there, 9-4 with victories over Nebraska and Wisconsin, I think most Iowa fans, okay, we can live with this for year 20 under Kirk. It's not the best, but it's still pretty damn good. I think that would be now if they do my scenario and go lose a bowl game, that'll be 3 straight 8-5s. It will be nothing. It won't be necessarily the program moving in the wrong direction backwards, but it will not be a very fans will not be galvanized by another 8-5 with a loss to a bowl game and a loss to Iowa State.
And as minor as the bowl game that they won, they did finally win a bowl game,
yes,
and that left a really great taste in people's mouths.
And in the media.
For the offseason and leading into the
season. It's impacted the way we've covered them. There's a kind of a positive buzz around this team inside here in Iowa. Outside, I think the best I've seen Iowa picked in their division's third. I think. Second behind Wisconsin. I've seen them second and third. I'm trying to think if there's mostly second, a few thirds, but there's nobody outside of here that thinks they're going to challenge Wisconsin. So, but I have a feeling. I've just had a feeling for a while that this year they're gonna beat Wisconsin at Kinnick. It's been a decade, and like I said, I did the same thing last year with Iowa State and Penn State. I was wrong on both. In both cases, I'll be the first to admit, but I was really darn close on both of them. Both of them were so close to being those kind of upset type things, and so this year I'm doing and picking Iowa State to win here with Iowa State's. One of the big advantages I give Iowa State right now is I trust its running game a lot more than Iowa's right now, regardless of because they have arguably the best running back in college football in David Montgomery. Mm-hmm. And so it's not like I'm picking a bad Iowa State team to beat a really, really, really good Iowa team. I'm going with the Cyclones just because I think that's what's going to happen. But I think then after that it's going to be pitchforks and just the apocalypse. Giant meteors are hitting Earth, and then 2 weeks later
Frankenstein's castle.
Yep, all that stuff will happen, and then 2 weeks later they beat Wisconsin, and people say, I overreacted 2 weeks ago. This is life with Kirk Ferentz. I feel pretty good because I have them winning 5 games in a row and losing 3 games in a row. So I have them split in the first 2, then I have them going on a 5-game winning streak, then I have them losing. The Northwestern one was tough. I picked Northwestern to win. I could very easily be wrong. I wasn't real confident on that one, but I had because I just don't think this is a 9-3 team right now. I need to see something. But I'm closer. I'd be more willing to say 9-3 than 7-5. If somebody told me, okay, hey, I looked into the crystal ball. Here's a fact: they're not going to go 8-4. They're going to be 1 game. Either way from 8-4, I'd be more willing to say 9-3 than 7-5 if that makes any sense. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
There you go. So yeah, no, but yeah, I do these every year. I mean, everyone does. I'm probably one of the last media guys to do mine, and I've seen some 10-2s in the media, some 9-3, 8-4, and I usually do 8-4. Like I said, my rule is start at 7-5 with Iowa football, and then go either direction.
What is what's the consensus among the writers on the Iowa State game? Are they mostly?
I would say most of them have Iowa winning. I haven't looked, but there's some. I would say most have Iowa winning. It's here, and like I said, most of the guys that cover Iowa are Iowa grads, and it's ingrained in them. And I think most of them. I mean, I went to Drake. I like Iowa. Like I said, selfishly, I'd like Iowa to run the table. And, well, I guess I didn't put – ideally for me, it would be Iowa versus Notre Dame for the national championship, and they tie 0-0. And then they both go off the field holding hands. But I know that's going to happen because they hate each other.
No, you had
I had Iowa beating Alabama.
Yes.
Running the table – that would
embarrass Alabama in the national title.
That would be great for business. So selfishly, yes. We'd all benefit from that. But no, the Iowa State one, like I said, there's been many times where I've picked Iowa to win that game before and been wrong and burned by Iowa State winning. But I think with David Montgomery, the Matt Campbell stuff, yeah, he's great and all that. To me, David Montgomery's the most – and the fact that they have a quarterback that Iowa has to respect because he showed, this Kyle Kemp showed last year, he can play winning football. He can make some tough throws. I just think David Montgomery's ability to move the chains is going to have a big impact in this game. And it's not like – I have him winning 28-24, so it's a close game. And like I said, the Wisconsin game 2 weeks later, I don't know why. I just – oh, and then remember, I have Barry Alvarez – go ahead, read that one. This one, Suter will appreciate this one.
Yeah, that is a good one. Let's see where it's. With the Badgers trailing 14-0 at halftime, Barry Alvarez names himself temporary head coach and tries unsuccessfully at halftime to hire away Reese Morgan and Phil Parker from the Iowa staff. Paul Christ is reinstated immediately after a game so he can deal with the media at Kinnick Stadium.
That was kind of a joke because Barry, of course, took 2 key Iowa assistants under different circumstances, of course, but no, Suter will like that one because just to say the name Barry Alvarez, Suter gets mad. He feels betrayed. But no, that's going to be, like I said, we'll know a little bit about this Iowa football team after 4 games. We really will. Whereas there's been years where they play a bad Iowa State team, 2 other weak teams, and then maybe an opener at like Illinois or something. And you don't really know. We'll know a lot about this Iowa football team. I mean, I wouldn't be stunned if it was 2-2. I wouldn't. I'd be very surprised if it was 4-0. I wouldn't be surprised if it was 3-1. Obviously, that's what I have. But if 2-2, I wouldn't be overly surprised. It could easily lose to Iowa State and Wisconsin. That's what it has to guard against. It could also lose, I know, to UNI and Northern Illinois. But those to me aren't easy. They're going to have to really do some things wrong to lose those 2 games, I believe.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, Northern Illinois. I know they're picked to compete for the MAC. Gee, okay, great. We're talking about a Big Ten team here, so that should be a big difference. But they need to guard against 2-2. 2-2 will not go over well. You imagine 2-2.
Oh, no.
They lose to Wisconsin that Monday with Don coming in here. Don will still be positive, but it will be, I don't know. Well, they'll be. Yeah. It depends on what goes on. If the offense is scoring a bunch of points and they're 2-2,
Bud will blame you for the
Parker.
Losses.
Well, Bud will. He still thinks I work at the Press Citizen. But no, they will. If they lose, if they're 2-2, but they have good offense, it'll be Phil Parker.
Do you know how
if they're 2-2, but they have good defense and no offense? It'll be Brian Ferentz.
Do you understand that I ran into somebody this weekend at the store that thinks you do? So, hey, you guys are pretty cozy with the Press Citizen, and I go, what do you? I don't know what you're talking about. Having that Harty on every day.
I haven't worked there since 2014. Does he not read the paper?
I said, he hasn't. Well, I said 5 years, but
well, it's getting close.
Yeah, I said he hasn't been there for 5 years. He's got his own website.
The guy obviously doesn't read my website or the Press Citizen, right?
Yeah.
Huh? What did he say then?
Huh?
Yeah. Go to hell, sober off.
And your partner Anthony.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that damn Brad man.
I did. I ran into some. I don't know. I ran into some guy. And he goes, I listen to you guys every morning. I love you. This was like, what, a year ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love you and Anthony. And I said, Anthony, he died like 6-7 years ago. Huh?
I still listen.
Whatever that guy is, he goes.
Yeah, we're interchangeable on this end of the screen.
Would Anthony have liked the All Hawkeye segment?
Oh, yeah. No, he really would have.
He would have? Would he have contributed, or would he have just
no, he
picked away at it?
Contributed.
What would he have contributed?
You would have been his friend.
Would I?
You seriously?
What if I would have started giving him crap on the air?
Then he would have just annihilated
instant
you.
umbrage.
I could
because you have a break. You know, he would have been.
What if I would have called him Short Fry?
Oh no. Yeah,
I could have fought back with him. We would have. Well, why don't we answer that?
Well, we'll answer that.
Oh, is this
after,
money?
Yeah, we got money.
I thought it was the ghost of Anthony.
We'll see. Hello.
Hey, good morning, guys.
Hey,
Adam,
how you doing?
Yeah, Adam Aliska, Wells Fargo Advisors with the markets.
All right. Hey, everyone. Stocks finished higher for the day Friday. The close of Friday, the Dow climbed 110 points to 25,669. The S&P 500 added 9 points to close at 2,850, and Nasdaq Composite gained 9 points on the session and finished up the week at 7,816 total points. Those major averages advanced as investors digested the latest corporate earnings releases and focused on geopolitical updates. Trade tensions showed signs of easing between the U.S. and China late last week. All 11 sectors in the S&P did close in positive territory. Consumer staples paced the gains, up nearly 3.2% on the week. Industrials also outperformed on trade optimism, with Caterpillar climbing 2.3% and John Deere rising 2.4%. Technology shares did underperform on a relative basis. NVIDIA declined nearly 5% to $244 a share, while Applied Materials dropped 7.7% after both chip makers revealed disappointing demand. Looking at today here, Monday, August 20th, major averages are poised to advance this morning as a rebound in raw material prices is providing a tailwind for the global markets. Currently, this morning, the Dow is up 95 points. The S&P is up 3, and Nasdaq is trading down 15 points on the opening part of the session here. In corporate news, Pepsi is adding 0.25% on news that the company will purchase fizzy drinks dispenser SodaStream International for $3.2 billion. In earnings, Estee Lauder is dipping 0.7% despite topping consensus profit and revenue projections. Looking across seas here, European markets are higher near mid-session amid a rebound in commodity prices. The Euro Stock 600 is climbing 0.6%, its largest gain in 2 weeks on the heels of its worst weekly performance since June. Overnight in Asia, China's Shanghai Composite jumped 1.1% amid optimism ahead of this week's trade negotiations between Washington and Beijing. And Treasury this morning are slightly higher, with the yield on the 10-year note down 1 basis point to 2.85%. In commodities, crude is essentially unchanged this morning at $65.91 a barrel, and gold is advancing 0.8%. That is trading at $11.85 an ounce. Once again, this has been Adam Haluska with Wells Fargo Advisors, LLC, member SIPC. If you're in the Iowa City, Coralville area, we can be reached at 319-338-3799, or you can always come in and see us. Adam Haluska, Corey Arian, Ted Stoley, and Daryl Courtney. We're at 501 12th Avenue, Suite 201 in Coralville, Iowa.
Thank you. Mighty 1630.
We're as close as your smart device. Just ask Alexa to play KCJJ on TuneIn. Our video and audio streams are powered by Lucky's Market at the Iowa City Marketplace.
Here is your KCJJ forecast. It is going to rain, and it is going to be heavy here later today and tonight. We could get a half inch to an inch or more of rain through tonight. Today, cloudy showers and thunderstorms likely with a high of 78 today. The wind out of the southeast at about 5 to 15. And again, heavy rain likely today. More rain this evening, low down to 64. And then tomorrow, it will be partly cloudy and warmer with a high of 77. I'm meteorologist Sean Cable on the Mighty 1630 KCJJ. Right now at our studios, it's 70.
Weather brought to you by the Westport Touchless Auto Washes, allhawkeyes.com.
You're as close as your smart device.
I
heard it.
We can't even freaking imagine what happened.
Oh, I know. There's people making fun of us on Twitter because we don't know what's wrong. Okay, I'm sorry. We don't know what's wrong. I'm sure the people making fun of us on Twitter can fix it.
It couldn't have happened here because we had the recording on that. Like I say, I listened to it Saturday morning before I got rid of it.
So you're basically throwing iTunes under the bus.
I don't know how else it could have been anything else. I, honest to God, don't get it. And not only don't I get it, my engineer,
so this is iTunes.
He writes his own programs. He says.
I think this is more.
He listened to it, Andy.
This is more Steve This is more Steve Alford than Steve Bridges.
The engineer said.
There's the bus and there's iTunes.
The engineer said that's impossible, and he listened to it.
So what did he say was the issue then?
He doesn't know. He said, I never heard anything like that.
Because iTunes probably doesn't give a crap. I haven't tried to get a hold of them. I'm sure their life's going to be just fine. But let's wait and see what it does in this one.
That's why we're
and I'll know because, like I said, they start unleashing on Twitter, hey, you clowns are at it again. It did do it the entire 90 minutes, though, one buddy of mine said. He kept listening thinking it would stop, and it never stopped.
What did you do to that screen?
Nothing.
Oh.
There was a window open, and I shut it.
You're as close as your smart device. Should I just start saying it? You're as close as your smart device.
It's recording right now.
Yeah, it's recording. But it's in the
beta stage.
But you are, just so our listeners know, you are as close as your smart device. Explain that to him, Captain. What does that mean?
We're everywhere. Okay, you can see us on. You can see this thing on YouTube with our chat room, just like we were on Ustream forever.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're on the official 1630 KCJJ page or channel. Whatever.
Right.
Subscribe to that, and you know when we go live, and it's free. Or else you can listen to us on TuneIn, the TuneIn app, on Simple Radio, on MyTuner, Google Home. And Amazon Echo. All you have to do is ask.
That was E.T., wasn't it? Isn't that what he said in the movie? That would be E.T. today. In today's world, Google Home.
All you have to do is say KCJJ on TuneIn. So all you got to do, and you can hear us on all that crap, or you can go to 1630KCJJ.com.
Ask Tommy when he comes in to do the police report.
He just walked in.
How his parents listen to us. It's pretty wild.
Ask him. He's just here.
How do your parents listen to us?
Drunk. Sounds like the Flintstones.
Tablet.
What's his tablet?
You know, like an iPad or something?
Oh, no, okay. All right. I see what you mean. Yes. All right. I thought you meant like a
stone tablet.
Stone tablet.
Like Moses?
Yeah, like Moses. Charlton, isn't your dad a big Chuck Heston fan?
Hello.
God, we made a caller wait through that?
Good morning, guys. Hey, I've got a couple of comments and then a question for Pat.
All right.
I just wanted to comment that it was great to see Josh Jackson get a pick six for the Packers the other day.
Yep.
I saw yesterday LaShawn Daniels got signed by the Packers, which is really neat.
Arch rival with his brother now. Kind of, it adds a little flavor to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just to add something to Iowa State, with the quarterback and the running back, they really have some scary receivers coming back this year, and that worries me when we play them.
Yes, Hakeem Butler.
Their receivers the question I have is regarding the two offensive tackles that are sitting out the first game. Do you think that he'll plug them right back in for Iowa State, and do you think they'll have some sort of like first game jitters that'll take them a while to
Good questions.
Get over and really play up to their abilities? And I'll hang up and listen.
I do think he will insert them back in because we saw at the Kids' Day practice they were running number one clearly. And now I guess Kallenberg or Dalton Ferguson or Levi Paulson, I guess one of those could just have an incredible game to where, wow, we got to give him another chance. But I would be surprised if Alaric Jackson and Tristan Wirfs aren't the starters at both tackle positions for the Iowa State game. I just think that they had firmly established themselves. I mean, Alaric Jackson started every game he was not – I mean, every game last year until he was suspended. I mean, he was a starter from the very beginning. That's – even when Boone Myers and Ike Betker and all those guys were healthy, Alaric Jackson was a starter. So, yes, I do think that they will both be back. And there was – what was the other part he wanted to know? I thought there was one other part of the question I've already forgotten. You guys are older than me, so I doubt you remember either.
He says, well, they have first game jitters.
Oh, wow, Hunter.
Yeah.
God, maybe it's me. I'm the young I don't think so anymore because they both play. I mean, Alaric Jackson started – 11, 12 games last year. Wirfs started the 7 or 8. I think they're beyond that. They may have first game physical jitters to where they just need to be out there a little bit and react to things because it's going to be different than practice. It's just going to be different. It always is different. I don't think they'll be overwhelmed by the circumstances, though, no.
Hello.
Interstate 80, exit 280. I believe it's the Coral Ridge exit. there's an accident, so traffic's slowing down to about 10 mile an hour.
That would be 240.
240, okay. Thank you for the heads up.
280, exit 280. Yep.
Oh, the 280, okay.
I thought
I think he means the 380.
Oh, that's what. Yeah,
that's
okay. I
what
see
he
the
means.
exchange.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crowded even without accidents. So hopefully nobody's seriously injured. But thanks for the heads up.
Yeah.
So the 380 underpass, which would be about exit 2.
Yeah.
The mall's 240, right?
Yeah, 240.
Okay. Well, thanks for that heads up. But no, I just and like this caller said, I didn't even mention the receivers. I mean, you could make a strong case that Iowa State's going to have the best running back and best top maybe 2 receivers. They're not going to have the best tight end. That's clearly Noah Fant. The offensive line, to me, we don't know enough about either one. But like I said, if Iowa loses, this is not going to be losing to a bad Iowa State. I will be stunned if Iowa State beats Iowa, then goes on and finishes 4-8 or 3-9, barring a bunch of injuries. That's always a possibility. I think this Iowa State team is 7-5, 6-6 at worst. And I think if they get some lucky breaks, they may have kind of that breakthrough that Iowa had under Ferentz.
Don't we have a pretty good defensive line?
Oh, yeah, really good defensive line.
So,
now, tackle's going to be an issue for the opener. The 2 of their top 3 tackles are out, and none of their tackles are full-time starters. Matt Nelson started last year. He's the only one that's got a ton of starting experience. Cedric Lattimore has played a lot, too. But remember, Nathan Bazada's gone. Budgeta's gone, and to me, he was clearly their best defensive tackle last year. So the first game, they're going to be short at defensive tackle, but they're going to move at least Sam Brinks, and Chauncey Goldston has moved from inside. I don't know if that's permanent, but I think that's definitely to help shore up the ranks for the Northern Illinois game. Yes, they have great defensive ends. They're going to need that defensive line to play well because the 3 linebackers will be playing meaningful downs for the first time as Hawkeyes, and they're the ones who are probably going to have jitters, and they're the ones that are going to have to learn how to react to the game because it's going to be different than everything they're seeing in practice. And so that's why, I mean, I could see the defense allowing a couple big plays. I mean, defensive ends can only do so much. One thing that's going to be huge is if the defensive ends can get pressure on the quarterback in that first game when they're short at tackle. They need to do that. A.J. Epinesa and Anthony Nelson, they need to constantly beat their guy and make sure that quarterback's always wondering where they are because that'll kind of disrupt things. And if you disrupt the quarterback's thinking early, then the whole play can unravel. And that, to me, is going to be big. Can Iowa run the ball? Can Iowa pressure the quarterback? They do both of those against Northern Illinois, they're going to win. But you never know. I only pick them to win by I have them winning on the last in my picks. I have them winning on the last play of the game with the Northern Illinois defensive end with both of his arms wrapped around Stanley's legs and he throws a touchdown. So I don't think it's going to be a cakewalk. So we'll see. I mean, the last 4 games against Northern Illinois have been competitive games. I mean, the series started off the first 5 games were a joke, but that was in the 80s and 90s. Things are different now.
Yes.
Northern Illinois has narrowed the gap. Put it that way. Look at that, Captain. There was a little
strong.
Got a little serious.
Yeah,
and now let's inject some nonsense. What do you got? But
Scott Frost.
Did you see? First of all, let me say, Lee Barfnecht, a longtime reporter for the Omaha World Herald. God, he said he'd been there 39. I was like in grade school when he started there, and he doesn't look that old. I never dreamed he was. He took a buyout. He's retiring, and. So I want to send a shout-out to him because didn't get to know him very well, haven't talked to him much at all like some of my colleagues have. But I've always admired his work from a distance. He's pretty objective, and that's hard to do in Nebraska. It really is. But when they struggled, he wouldn't sugarcoat it. I always respected him for that. But, he loves Nebraska too. But it's Nebraska there. They're sort of like you're either with us or you're not. But I always admired him because they've had some stretches here in football where they haven't been very good. And you can't just fool your readers all the time. And I think even the most diehard fans don't want to constantly be served a bunch of slop. I mean, if they're struggling, as long as you're fair and accurate, you got to get it out. You can't everything can't be company line.
I have, over the weekend, went through our Twitter and have banned 7 or 8, I think.
You're like that
7.
CEO from Twitter. What's his name? Jack. Jack. His little Twitter thing just says Jack on it.
Well, because they listen to the show.
Who? Twitter? Jack?
These diehard Nebraska fans, and after we, I post, here the things up or whatever, and they just rip in. With Frost, and it
I have Frost in my picks.
Ridiculous.
Jim, read my I have Iowa beating Nebraska 30-20 this year.
Cornhusker fans stormed the field at Kinnick Stadium and carried Scott Frost on their shoulders to the locker room as a show of thanks for making the series somewhat competitive again.
There you go. But they had a Scott Frost autograph signing thing, and one of the reporters for the Omaha World Herald shot a video. There were fans wrapped around. I mean, it went on for you. It was like the opening of Jaws. I don't know if you remember. I mean, it's just.
I don't remember us ever getting that fervent before
Any coach
showed anything.
They would have been interested had they hired Bob Stoops. Bob Stoops would have, and this is no knock on Kirk, but let's just face it, Kirk didn't have the name or the appeal or the draw or anything that Bob Stoops did at the time. Iowa fans would have been a little silly with the hiring of Bob Stoops. There would have been people saying that, hey, I swear he walked on water when he was coming. There would have been people lined up. I don't know if it would. You got to understand, too, Nebraska's got one school. So Nebraska's would be kind of like if you combined Iowa and Iowa State together. Think about that. I mean, I thought about that. I'd probably have twice as many followers as I do on Twitter because you'd have all the – I mean, because a lot of those Nebraska writers have like 20 and 30,000 followers on Twitter, and I got to thinking – well, they've only got one school there. They all cater to one school, but it is. I was stunned at how many fans were there, and I read some people are naming their kids Scott or Frost, and like Suter said, what if he doesn't succeed there?
Then you got.
I don't know what
then
those.
You got a loser kid.
But think about that, though. I don't think there's any doubt amongst Nebraska fans that they're going to be really, really, really good again. But there's always a chance it may not quite meet your expectations. I don't know how some of those people are going to take that because I don't think they believe there's anybody better for the job than Scott Frost.
I was named after our dog, my middle name. Seriously.
What's your middle name?
Scott.
Fido?
Scott, and it was a Scotty dog.
Oh, okay. I
Named
thought you meant you had a dog named Steve. I had a buddy of mine who always named it. Doug, Jeff. His dogs were all always, they're my kids. He'd have like a dog, Susan. Hey, there's. And I just always found because I was always Buddy and. I like giving dogs Lakota, got Lolo.
We've named our animals mostly like people. Timmy and Rudy.
We had Fred. She was a female basset hound. The reason she was named Fred was my mom, when my mom was running a dorm over at Drake, she was like in charge of like the resident housing. They had a dog that they had found, a stray basset hound, and it was a female basset hound. But since this was an all-male dorm, they said, well, we better name her Fred. So they named her Fred and kept her there for about 2 weeks and finally talked my mom because they knew she had a 8-year-old kid living. My mom was working, and I was 8 years old, and I had just lost a dog. So they talked my mom into bringing Fred home. We kept the name Fred, and we had her for 10 years, and she was one of the best dogs ever. She used to run our neighborhood. She would sleep in the middle of the intersection of the 4 streets, and cars would literally just drive. She was there. And she would go. We had some neighbors that kind of helped raise her a little bit because back then dogs wandered. They didn't get $75, and it was probably bad. I mean, but she'd go down to the wards because they fed her all the time. And I remember Mr. Ward telling me one time, God, I was taking a crap, and I look, and there your dog just walks right through our bathroom. Fred was big. Fred was a big old basset hound with big old floppy ears, and she was a great dog, though. In youth football, my dad wasn't the coach of our youth football team, but it was our house was right behind the schoolyard where we practiced. He'd bring Fred up, and she'd go and literally go right into the scrimmage and lay down, and we would move our scrimmage. So the coach said, "Oh God, here comes Hardy's damn dog again." But you had to be there. But she was a great basset hounds are good dogs, but basset hounds can be a little feisty too. They got a little nasty side in them.
Yeah.
They can. I mean, but when we first had her, she could run. But then there were times, like one time we couldn't figure out why she had this rash on her tummy. We took her to the vet, and they're like, well, do you have carpet on your steps? And we're like, yeah. They're like, that's her stomach rubbing against the carpet going up and down the steps. And
there's a comic strip called Fred Bassett.
Really?
Yeah. It's been on since 1963.
Wow. I was going to sue him for copyright, but I guess.
What about Angela Bassett?
And it's from England.
Angela Bassett, she's an actress, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
And some roles, her stomach.
For some reason, I thought of Angela Lansbury when you said Angela Bassett. I'm like,
no, she played Tina Turner in that movie. What's what got to do with it?
Didn't she do a pretty good job in that?
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Hello.
Hey guys, Nebraska fan here. You ever heard that story about Scott Frost where he was out fishing with some friends and fell asleep in the boat, and then all of a sudden a storm came along, and they got scared, and they woke him up, and they said, "Hey, there's a storm coming," and he stood up and he said, "Be still," and it was.
I've heard it now, and what do you think of that?
It's just freaking ridiculous. I mean, it's
a little over the top.
And these guys were relentless in posting on the KCJJ Twitter account, and there was like 8 separate guys, and they just dogpile after every damn freaking show we do. It just.
Well, the proof's going to be in the pudding, so to speak. We'll see what happens
before you.
I mean, I do think Scott Frost is going to make Nebraska. I mean, they can't be any worse than they were last year. By the time they played Iowa, they were maybe the worst team in the Big, other than maybe Illinois. They were terrible by that. And by the second half of the Iowa game, they had given up. I mean, you can say what you want. So yes, they needed a change, and I do think Scott Frost is going to make them better. But just this, like, oh my God, we're back. It's Tom Allen. I think some of them do think that in a couple years it'll be mid-'90s all over again, and maybe it will. And I'll be the first to eat crow if that is. But I just think the times have changed, the landscape has changed. It's hard for a program like that doesn't have palm trees and oceans and warm weather and a big population base for athletes of all different diversities, cultural backgrounds, to do stuff, to be entertained and what have you. And I think that's hard to try to build another dynasty under those circumstances. But I do think, I wouldn't be surprised if 2 or 3 years from now Nebraska's 10-2 under Scott Frost, and maybe 9-3. But I don't think it's going to be what Osborne had going when they 94, 95, and 97.
But they will turn if he has a bad season.
They will not turn on Scott Frost after.
You don't think so?
No. After one bad season, no. If they go 4-8 this year or 3-9, they'll be disappointed. But they'll say, he inherited all this, and it's got. What they'll do is they'll say it's going to get worse before it gets better, but just have faith. Now, if they go 3-9, and then let's say next year they go 4-8, then people, hey Scott, I still think you walk on water and are the greatest thing in the world. But come on, we got to start winning. It'll be that. Scott Frost will get more time than anybody. He really will. Because this is kind of like Tim Dwight coming home to coach Iowa or something. Now, granted, Dwight's never gotten into coaching, but Scott Frost. Now, I guess it's a little different because everyone talks, oh, he's a lifelong Husker. Well, obviously not. He went to Stanford out of high school. He went 2 years at Stanford before transferring back to Nebraska. So this isn't some Cinderella story about Nebraska kids' beloved alma mater. I mean, it is now, but he did go to Stanford out of high school.
Tim got mean.
Imagine Tim Dwight coaching the Hawkeyes. The media comes in for a press conference. He's got them all doing push-ups like 10 seconds into it.
He came in here to
you're all fat.
he came in here to plug his solar energy.
All he did was plug you.
He just ripped Tommy
plug your girth.
He did. He ripped Tommy and me. That's the last time he exercised.
He's just a little thing now.
Yeah.
He probably weighs like 150, 160
Something
pounds.
like that. Yeah. And I said, you're supposed to plug you. He didn't listen either. I was trying to...
Oh, he never listened.
Yeah.
When I did the TV show, that thing I do for, we had him on as a guest one time. Was it last? Yeah, I think it was last year. And during the middle of the show, when we're on, he's sitting next to me up on that table just talking, asking me questions. And I'm like, we're on the air. He doesn't care. And nobody cares because it's Tim Dwight,
Are you going to do that show again?
I haven't heard from him. I don't know.
Hello.
It's hard for me to do all of them. Like I said, I missed a lot of them last year.
Hello.
Hey, Pat.
Hey, what's up? It's FD.
Hey, a lot of people remember Tim Dwight was a great Hawkeye. And
Yep.
Of course, I never missed a game while he was there. I was always there watching him play.
Yep.
And I assume you were too.
Yeah, I was there. He used to return punts. He was good.
Yeah.
He was good at returning punts, and he went to City High.
At that point, we had a coach that a lot of people won't remember, but his name was Hayden Fry. And Hayden once told me that Timmy Dwight had an extra heartbeat.
Yep. I remember him telling the media that, too. But did he tell you that before he told the media? I think he did, didn't he?
Oh, yeah. Way before. That's kind of a big deal over there in the stadium. But enough about me. Well, not really enough about me. The reason I called... we're having fun now. what people don't remember about Tim Dwight is he was a hometown boy. Went to school right here in City High.
Yes, he did.
No one remembers that.
No,
He ran track.
Completely forgot.
I did that. I spaced that off.
Don't pretend like you remember, because you wouldn't if I hadn't reminded you. But yeah, I remember a lot of these things. That I may be from Illinois, but I'm a Hawkeye at heart.
Yep, yes, you are.
Mostly because Illinois just always sucked, and I wanted to root for somebody that was winning.
Makes sense. How come you never talk back to him, Captain? All you do is laugh when he's on. You just you leave me having
it's his forum.
I know, but Captain
this is your segment.
Yeah, but you need to.
You are responsible for everything on this segment.
You need even that echo chamber.
Even that repeat announcement.
I like the guy who tweeted at us and said, "Get that thing off immediately." Seriously, guys, like it's ridiculous. It is annoying.
Did you get it off?
I don't know how hell that's kind of a loaded question, isn't it?
It's still there.
That's kind of a loaded question.
So I know they're trying to get the Park Road Bridge project done before Labor Day weekend, so people can use that to get to the game.
This is going to be such
but the big question is: the Kinnick House going to be ready for opening?
I don't believe so. I've been hearing mixed things, but I do believe that it's not going to be done. If I'm wrong with the owners of the Kinnick House, please, captains, you're willing to bring the owners of the...
It's going to be such a cluster to get to those games.
We've had other years like this before, but I don't know if we've ever had a year where we've had this many main thoroughfare routes going from east and west, north, because there's not very many to begin with in this town. When you put the town around the university, traffic...
By Big Dog TV and Internet. Serving all of Eastern
See, that's what they should make people who they want to punish. Like the people what's that prison out in Colorado where they keep... Make them listen to that all day.
How in the hell did it happen? It's impossible, Steve.
I don't know.
Somebody on Twitter said it's because we're idiots.
Well, I can't argue with that.
I mean,
but
how do you argue with that? I mean, what's my comeback for that?
You can't argue with that, but I don't know how it...
And it's fine on the.
It was fine on there.
Somebody also said they think it's just because it's linked to all Hawkeyes and due to its technical past that's what's causing it. It was kind of a joke. They were making fun of all Hawkeyes.
Hello?
I mean,
that's not nice.
Well, let's just see what happens with this one. If this happens again, then I guess do we have to get in touch with iTunes?
Well, if it can't happen again. It cannot happen again.
All right.
Okay.
All right, caller, go ahead.
That settles it.
Hello.
Hey, it's Randy.
Hey, Randy.
I am ready for football. We got 12 days left.
Yep, we're ready. I did my picks today and have them going 8-4, and I'm ready.
I'm hoping for at least 9 wins.
Well, that's.
But I can see it being 8, but
there's not a big difference between 8. Suter will be bringing that 9-3 slop home, and when's he get back? In 2 weeks? He's back by October 1st, isn't he? No.
Sam Suter.
No, we'll have Suter back for Halloween. He'll be here for the Halloween special. But no, I mean 9-3. That could. Do you have them beating Iowa State, Randy?
I think they'll probably either beat Iowa State or Wisconsin, like what you were talking about earlier.
Yeah, they got to. At worst, they have to split those games. If they lose both of those games and they're 2-2, they got a long uphill climb to try to make a good season out of it because they will have already had a conference loss and a loss to the dreaded Cyclones. So, like I said, we're going to know a lot about this team after 4 games.
But if they turn around and win both of those games, then sky's the limit.
Oh, yeah. Watch Iowa football, then win both those games and lose to Northern Illinois and UNI. Could you imagine that? Or let's say they're 3-1. I thought about having my 3-1 pick be a loss to Northern Illinois. And this is no knock on UNI. I just can't see UNI physically winning this game right now, especially with Iowa being at full strength for that game. If it was a season opener, maybe a little. And the same with Northern Illinois. I just don't think they should lose to a MAC team. I'm sorry, they shouldn't. So Iowa State's not. If Iowa State was in the MAC, they'd steamroll through that conference. So, and a lot of Iowa fans who hate Iowa State are willing to say, "Yeah, I'm worried. They're a good team." And most of them. I think, Randy, would you prefer that Matt Campbell out of Iowa State, or do you care? Do you like the challenge of, well, that's just going to make us better if they're good? What's your stand on that?
I'd prefer you go somewhere else.
Okay, at least you're on. Suter's the same way. I mean, Suter, I appreciate the honesty. I think a lot of Iowa fans are that way. I'm not going to knock that. That's you have a right to feel any way you want. I can see both sides. I mean, some people will say, well, if he stays there and Iowa State's really good, that just forces Iowa to be good. Well, it also could make Iowa bad. You never know.
So when you're out here in Iowa City, it doesn't affect you quite as much. But when you're from Central Iowa, like I am, you know Cyclone fans everywhere.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
I'm with my basement all decked out and painted like Kinnick Stadium. I'm the first person somebody comes to.
So do you get a lot of grief from Cyclone fans?
Oh yeah.
Well, you've had the last laugh.
I had a Cyclone fan put dead flowers in my chair in my pew at church one year when Iowa State beat Iowa.
Wow. What do you think of that?
That's
Kathy?
harsh.
That's mean.
That's harsh. Bringing the rivalry to the foot of the Lord.
When I worked at KJJY in Des Moines, the only thing they told me is, don't mention either one. If they win, don't gloat or.
So they wanted you completely in the middle.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what'd you do?
I said, "Hey, Hawk." I did. First damn show. It was a Saturday night.
That would be kind of weird, though, being a radio host in Iowa and not talking about either Division I football. That seems that would.
They never said anything after I did it. And
so, Randy, did you ever find out which fan who dropped those dead flowers on your pew?
Yeah, I figured it out.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, they admitted it.
All right. Well, like I said, I don't want Iowa State to win that game. I'm just going by what I feel. And if it's any consolation, Randy, I'm wrong a lot. I'm really not very good at making predictions. So take that. That can maybe be some inspiration for you.
All right. Have a good day.
Have a good day.
Bye.
by the way, Dixie, no, we didn't have both the YouTube and the podcast or whatever up. We do know a little about that. She said, if you have the two windows open, you don't have any windows on there open.
No,
not on there. On
this one?
Yeah.
No,
we don't.
And that window's closed. The real window's closed.
Why do you have the shades?
I don't have it.
It's like they always are. He's nitpicking, Jim.
Yeah.
He's nitpicking. You're nitpicking.
He was mad at me for shutting the shades in the studio yesterday.
Yeah, I want to see outside.
He never gets mad at Suter, but he gets mad at you.
There was nobody here yesterday.
I get mad at Suter.
I've never seen you get mad at Suter.
I've got mad at Suter.
Have you ever seen it?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's...
I get mad at everybody.
Yes.
I have a...
He lashes out.
I have a temper.
Yeah,
I've seen it.
And I lash out.
I've seen it. I've got a temper, too.
We went head-to-head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back at the old place.
Yeah. And we still get along.
So I rolled my eyes and walked out and came back, and everything was all softened over by then.
God damn, Hardy.
I don't even remember what it was about. You probably do, but I really seriously don't.
One day there'll be a man named Scott Frost that will come to Nebraska, and we'll have to hear a year worth of a crap.
Oh, not a year. I mean, it's going to, especially, what if they go 10-2 this year and beat Iowa? Think about that.
That'd be, ugh.
Hello?
Hello?
All you have to do to fix that echo is unplug everything and then let it reboot and hit Control-Alt-Delete twice and then dunk your phone in a glass of water.
Is that a fake somebody or
fake
what?
Ackerman.
That's
More fake callers.
The Fishers call
this is Trump's station. There's more fake news out here. I think this is what he's referring to. I mean, my Lord, we're just not investigating anybody. We're just lucky we're not investigated. But no, I was stunned though at how many people waited. I thought I remember someone where I read they waited 4 hours so their son, their little 9-month-old son, could take a picture. And I'm just like, wow, this guy. The fans love him, but what if he doesn't succeed there? I don't know if Nebraska is going to know how to move forward if that doesn't happen. I don't think they're even considering that scenario. So, but we shall see. I mean, I do think Iowa. I will be surprised if Iowa loses to Nebraska at home this year. I don't care how much better Nebraska is. I just don't think they've narrowed the gap that much. But the problem, what's risky with Iowa and kind of scary, Iowa loses games it shouldn't lose sometimes. We all know that.
Yes,
that's
they,
hardly.
No, they
do.
I mean,
they do.
history.
That's hardly being. I know I'm being Captain Obvious, but they do. That's probably Kirk Ferentz's biggest flaw at Iowa is he loses too many games where he probably really shouldn't lose.
Hello.
Yeah, I know for a fact there's with a lot of family in Nebraska that there were people, as soon as Scott Frost announced he was coming to Nebraska, that they made reservations for the Big Ten championship game and the national championship game. Hotel reservations already. So.
Wow. I mean, look at that. That's.
I mean, seriously.
Because they could always cancel them, right? If it doesn't materialize, or these.
Don't talk to them about needing to cancel it, though.
Oh, God, no, I wouldn't. No,
the final game. They set them up for the Big Ten championship game and the final game. They weren't even planning on going to the semifinals.
Okay, here's a question: What if they go 6-6 or 7-5? What will those people? What will your friends be like? What will they say?
Well, they're going to say, "Well, you know what? He had an awful lot to work against with Riley. Riley ruined the program."
Yes, that's what I think.
So,
how many? Because we were talking earlier. I think if they go, let's say they go 4-8 this year, it'll definitely be that. I think if 2 years from now, let's say they go 4-8 and 5-7. What will it still be? Well, he needs a little more time. What do you think the breaking point is for just the love affair if it doesn't start to turn around right away?
Well, I think the love affair is going to be when Florida State job opens up and Scott Frost likes the warmer weather. But I think Scott Frost will leave before they'll let him go because he'll realize that it's harder to work inside than it is to get people to Lincoln. But I will tell you that one of the things they mentioned, one of the things I got under their skin about is right after he got hired, I said, so hey, who's your next coach? And they all pitched a fit. What do you mean our next coach? Scott Frost. And I said, no, I mean in 3 years from now. And they just all pitched a fit.
Because they all think he's going to be there for the next 20, 25 years, right?
Well, and they also think that there's no difference between the Bahamas and Lincoln, and they're equal desirable locations to live in. So,
well, I agree with you, and that's why I thought that Nebraska's dynasty was incredible because Lincoln, Nebraska, I'd rather live in Iowa City.
Oh, listen, the weather in Lincoln is
it's brutal.
10 times
It's
worse
amazing what
than
they were
we
able to
get here.
do. But I'm with the caller on this. I just don't think they're ever going to be able to duplicate that again because times have changed. I mean, it's different. The teams back when Devaney started building it just didn't seem like there was this big draw to warmer weather. Seems like a lot of the schools in the Midwest were big draws, and things are different. It's a completely different recruiting climate. Plus, you have way more better players in warm weather climates now. I mean, there was still that back in the 60s and 70s, but it's way more magnified
I
now.
worked with a guy from Nebraska in Davenport, and we had a bad snowstorm, I think in '69 or something, and he, I said, God, this is terrible. He goes, this ain't nothing.
So,
he was from Lincoln.
Caller, what do you think? What do you think Nebraska? If you have to pick a record for Nebraska this year, what would it be?
I think they would be lucky if they get 7 wins. It could be 5.
Okay. I'm kind of the same way. If Scott Frost goes 7-5 this year, to me, he deserves a major praise. Because let's face it, that was a horrible team at the end of last year. Terrible. I think Nebraska's going to score some points, but I got to see their defense before I make any proclamation that things are way better.
I was on the Nebraska message board until they kicked me off, and literally hundreds of people were saying how they reserved their hotel room already. So
that's incredible.
Hilarious.
Well,
what was the last straw for you?
Yeah, what'd you do to get kicked off?
I made some reference about introducing the next Florida State coach, Scott Frost, in 2021.
That'll do it. So you obviously think Willie Taggart's not going to get it done at Florida State.
Well, I think you got a taste of what it's like to coach down in Florida. That's all I got to say.
Oh no, I agree with you. Could you see Scott Frost ever doing an NFL head coaching gig?
I think he will realize that he will do wonders there, and then move on to something else because he won't be if he's not going to be appreciated with 9 or 10 wins. Then he's already talked about how Pelini and Frank Solich how they shouldn't have got run out for winning 9 and 10 games. So if he wins 9 and 10 games, they're still not going to be pleased.
Yeah, I think Frank Solich's record was like 59-18, and they got rid of him. Before we go, caller, I want to ask you one other thing. I've made kind of a big deal. This thing about, born and raised Cornhusker, you remember, he went to Stanford for 2 years, out of high school. Yep. He didn't pick Nebraska. So it's not like it's deeply embedded in him. Is that fair to say?
Well, his high school he went to, and I think it was Wahoo.
Yes.
Where they loved him, and then they hated him, and then they loved him.
Yes.
So it could happen just like that.
Yes.
So, you know?
So I'm sure when he went to Stanford, he was a traitor, right?
And then I also mentioned, I said, well, this is the second year in a row you got a different Iowa alum as your defensive coordinator. How'd that work out the first time? And then that's another reason I got banned.
Oh,
yeah.
you're right, boy. You really do know how to dig, because you dig under the skin with facts, and they don't want to, because you went from Bobby Diaco to Eric Chenander.
You can change your IP address and change your name and get back on there.
There you go. So, well, hey, thanks. We appreciate it.
All right. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, see, he's good at it because he knows his football. Bobby Diaco was the coordinator, and I like Bob, but it didn't work out last year. But now they've got Eric Chenander, another former Iowa. He's an Iowa walk-on. I think he lettered in like 2002. He's the new defensive coordinator there, so we shall see. I mean,
I don't think that the loyalty thing anymore plays into a lot of these coaches.
I just don't think there's a lot of coaches that want to stay in this. I mean, Kirk Ferentz is an exception to the rule.
Yeah.
I'll be surprised if Scott Frosty's 45 now, something like that. I'll be surprised if at 65 he's still in.
When we talked to Mary, she said when they came here, they weren't expecting to settle down here, and that would be it.
Kind of grew on him.
Yeah.
And I don't think the right NFL offers came. Jacksonville was obviously, I mean, who knows what he would have done if the Patriots would have offered him 10 years ago? I mean, we don't know. Yeah. It's obvious that the right offers didn't come. I'm pretty confident in saying, with my sources and research I've done over the years, Kirk could have had both the Michigan and Penn State job if he wanted them in the last 10 years. He could have had both of them if he really wanted those jobs. But he didn't. I could see why he wouldn't want to touch the Penn State job. The Michigan job, I mean, I think Kirk likes the situation he's built here. I think he knows he's got a lot more stability at Michigan. You go there, and let's say Kirk Ferentz goes 8-4 3 years in a row at Michigan, he may be out the door
and loses some games that he should have won.
Yeah, and so
he liked the kids were in school, and he liked the schools. And I mean, there's a lot of things that went into his decisions that might not go into.
Scott Frost may be different. Scott Frost may be what do they call it, wanderlust? After a while, you want something different. I mean, there's people that are like that, and if Florida State does come open in 3 or 4 years and Scott Frost is in his late 40s, early 50s, he's thinking, wow, you never know. I will just be surprised. But this caller's right. Nebraska fans, most of them aren't even entertaining the thought that he's not going to retire there as the next Tom. He's just going to be the next Tom Osborne. There's no question. It's just going to happen.
25th year here. Yeah. I never thought that
you'd be here this long?
Yeah. I didn't want to be either. And I still ain't crazy about it.
Well, you've had Suter's been with you for how long?
The whole time.
Oh, the whole time?
Yeah, he was here 2 years.
Were you guys kind of a package deal?
No, he was here 2 years before. He was the only one I kept.
Oh, that's right. He was here before. You're right.
He was the only one I kept. Hello?
I'll tell you that his Scott Frost press conference, the press conference he had after the first one, there are so many different former football players there. He even made comments about how they're already telling him about how his playbook should be run and how he made reference how these players, former players, are already trying to run the show, and that it's his show, no matter how close a buddies they are. So it'll run thin. It'll run thin quickly. So
you don't think he'll last there long?
I think if his linebackers take the same angles this year as they have the last 5 years, they're still going to give up 40, 50 points.
Oh, yeah, no,
they gave up 40, 50 points at Central Florida. So
no, they're deep.
It's going to be interesting. They still play a very risky, high-risk defense that he's going to get burned. So.
Okay, I respect your opinion, and we shall see what happens.
That happens with. I mean, when Ferentz came here, they weren't going to listen to Ferentz either. Remember?
Well, the one kid, lineman left, and then the one player stole the playbook. Remember all that stuff?
What happened to that?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know. Hopefully he learned his lesson and turned his. I don't want to say turned his life around. I don't know if his life was falling apart. He made a bad decision. I mean, to steal a playbook.
Yeah, that's pretty.
That's not. That's like someone. That's like somebody stealing your wall of shame and using that against you. What if you came in here someday and somebody had carted that thing away?
Somebody did.
All right, I'm going to say I woke up today. I want to listen to your explanation. I woke up today. I'm like, I'll turn on the fellas and see what's going on there before I step in. What's on when I turn it on?
What?
Amy freaking Grant.
Yeah,
Give
I
me
will
an
remember you.
Give me an explanation.
Huge hit. Research as well. We're a top 40 adult contemporary station.
Jim?
I have to, I was in the same house as you were, and I have to remind myself that this is a top 40 adult contemporary station.
I don't think it's Amy Grant's 70th
I don't like
birthday.
everything he plays.
Yeah.
I don't think it's Amy Grant's 70th birthday.
But I don't.
What are you?
I had just forgot all about Amy Grant.
No, she ain't gonna look good.
Wasn't she kind of like a religious singer?
Yes.
Like
she
a
is
lot of,
now.
which is fine. I mean,
But that was
I know it was brutal though. Just her music used to make my.
Well, she will remember you. Don't you want to be
remembered?
remembered?
No, I want to be forgotten. I want to be forgotten. But then you came back with afterwards. You came back with what was it? It was a step up, not a big step. It was a baby step.
Know what the
it
hell.
was a baby step.
He knows more about what I play than I do.
Well, then I.
My favorite is when he doesn't remember what he's played and he plays the same songs at the exact same time the next day.
Yeah, I've seen you do that before. I hadn't heard.
Sometimes I just hit this thing on.
I know what you do.
I hadn't heard you play Amy Grant for a while.
Yeah,
I haven't. I just
no. It hasn't been played for months.
Is she still performing?
Yeah.
Is she really?
Yeah.
She's got to be like in her.
I would say
late 50s, early 60s.
I
she's
don't think she's that old.
Oh, maybe she's like my age, early to mid 50s. What? Because she
know,
was back in like the mid 90s. She was everywhere. I remember.
Yeah.
I had just completely forgot. And then the other day, I turned it on, and I think you were doing it out of spite. It was "We Built This City." I heard that twice on KCJJ in the same day.
No, I didn't play it. Molly played it.
Is that
Molly played it right after
I left?
Yeah,
I think that was
She is 57.
Yep.
Okay, she is just a few years older. Was that Molly mocking me?
Amy Grant has sold more than 30 million albums, won 6 Grammys, 22 gospel music Dove Awards, and had the first Christian album ever to go platinum.
And here I am knocking her.
And married to Vince Gill.
Yeah.
Who was in Pure Prairie League.
Vince Gill was also a country star.
He's a country.
He was in Pure Prairie League? Amy.
That's him.
Yeah.
Is Amy about her? What you want to do?
No, it's spelled A-M-I.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
I just sang that. Does that mean we can't?
No, we can.
Does that mean it's only goes to the echo chamber?
Over you.
Amy Grant was only 15. Amy Grant was only
chamber.
like 14 when that was sung, so I'm hoping that it was not about
Let's hope
her.
that was not about Amy, because then we got a felony.
Now we're worried about the echo chamber.
Isn't there a movie called The Echo Chamber?
I don't know.
She's still
chamber.
beautiful, man.
Hunter's got her called up over here. There is Echo in the Bunnymen, right?
Yes. I like them.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Never really?
Yeah, bring in the dancing horses.
Yep.
I like that.
Great song.
Kind of a neat name for a band.
From their album Songs to Learn and Sing.
Yeah.
All right, what's your prediction for Nebraska's record this year?
I'll say
They went 4-8 last year.
I'll say 6.
6-6, Jim?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I was going to say 6-6, 7-5. And like the caller said, that will.
Well, if what he said, if there's, if these guys are going to have dissension and are going to challenge the coach,
I don't think they will. I don't think
they will?
There will be none of that. No, he wasn't saying that. What he was saying was former players have already come in and said, "Hey, we're from the great past. We got to go back and do it the way we did it." That's kind of what I interpreted, and I don't think the ways that they won in the past will necessarily work now. Times are different. The environment's different. I think that's what this caller was suggesting, that a lot of the people are still stuck in the 90s, and that may not work in the, 2018?
Yeah. Hello.
Hey, guys, another, along with all the Scott Frost stuff, another annoying thing about Nebraska is, they're the greatest fans in the world, and they've sold out 600 games when I saw empty seats in that stadium all the time last year.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of, now I will say Carver's sort of, it's not that Carver sells out, but Carver will have 5,000 people and they'll announce 10-5. But no, I know what you mean. I saw there were lots of empty seats for that Iowa game last year. I saw tons of them.
Yeah, I understand they count tickets sold, but man, if there's no butt sitting in that seat,
I agree. It's misleading. Very misleading.
Yeah, and they just talk about it constantly, and it gets old. Man.
Well,
and
they got to
to
focus on that because they're not winning. But when they start winning, if they do, and your pick is 5-7, okay, so we're all within 5, 6, 7. Yeah. I've got 6-6, maybe 7-5, but no, I mean, so we don't have the wheels falling off because we all have them making some improvement. because they were bad last year. Their defense was horrid, and their defense has been bad for a long time.
Well, they're going to come out that first game and just probably throttle Akron. And then, they're back, and it's going to be great again.
Oh, they'll be, yeah. If they
get ready for that. I'm serious.
These guys are the best.
Yeah,
turn the whole program around on the first game.
Yes, if they destroy Akron, it's going to be, there'll be people lined up just to walk by his house in Lincoln. It'll be insane.
Yeah, then Colorado and Troy, and then Michigan. So we'll see. But
they
smoke.
That Colorado game is going to be tough, but they could be 3-0 going into Michigan. I mean, we'll see. And then you've got Harbaugh versus Scott Frost. My God, two fan bases that just absolutely worship their head coach. That'll be interesting.
Something about Scott Frost, and I talked to I had relatives in town from California. He's a UCLA fan, and obviously the Chip Kelly and the Scott Frost connection. And we were talking. I said, man, Oregon made it to one national title game, but every year they would lose 2 games, and they lost at Stanford and USC, who are pro-style offenses that use a fullback and use tight ends and do that. I said, and Scott Frost, his teams are molded after that Chip Kelly, that they don't stand up to like a Michigan offense or
they are vulnerable at times.
That just wants to batter you.
No, you're right, and we've talked to Kirk about that over the years, and Kirk's why we've asked him why he's never been tempted to go spread. He just thinks the pro style balance is better for the long haul. That you may have some moments of greatness with the spread and have a 1 or 2 year stretch, but then defenses adjust, whereas the pro style, you get to be really consistent at what you do. He thinks that's best and it's kind of hard to argue with his results because, I mean, we've seen if you can win 8 games at Iowa for an extended period, that's pretty good. I mean, that makes you a legend at Iowa, especially if you can mix it in with a 10, 11, 12-win season, which he and Hayden both did. Hayden would win. Hayden was the first guy to win double digits in a season at Iowa. But I'm with you, though. I think you got to be able to do both to have sustained success because defenses adjust to things.
The most annoying thing, and I don't know about you guys, but when you're watching football, and I don't care if it's on Tuesday night watching Bowling Green or Kent or watching the Iowa and Nebraska on, Black Friday, is when a team lines up like first or second and goal on the 2-yard line or, anywhere on the field in short yardage, and they're standing in the shotgun with the guy with the running back standing next to them.
That annoys you?
Yes. God, I don't know why. I'm just like, put your quarterback under center and turn and hand it off to the running back who's got a 3 or 4 yard, head start coming.
Could it be because of what happened? Could it be because of what happened in the Super Bowl between the Patriots and the Seahawks? Remember that?
Yeah, I remember that, but I mean, I don't know. I see too many teams trying to do that handoff from the shotgun. I don't know, man. I hate it.
I could see because sometimes it seems like that stuff, it either works or it fails miserably. I mean, I thought like Brian Ferentz. Remember when they tried that pitch to Wadley deep in their own territory?
Yes.
You got hit for the safety. Brian even said, you live and learn. I mean, he learned by that. Anytime you do a high-risk handoff like that and you lateral it back to where your running back is starting 7-8 yards behind the line of scrimmage in the end zone, that was just a bad call. Brian, he took accountability for that. I don't think he'll ever make that type of call again.
Oh, man, anyway, yeah, so get ready.
Oh, we're ready.
Because 7 o'clock at night, Nebraska's pregame show, because we get it on the radio up here in Sioux City, for a 7 p.m. game, their radio show actually starts at 4 a.m. and goes till 3 a.m. I ain't lying. I mean, hey, I'm a cop, so I work night shift, and I'll listen on, like, Friday night. I'll be listening all night driving up down the interstate or whatever. And I listen to sports talk radio, and you flip it over to listen to them and listen to their pregame show that starts at 3:34 in the morning. And they'll take calls till 3 or 4 in the morning after the game.
Wow! Did I hear you say you're a cop?
Yes.
Well, thank you for your service.
Yeah, thank you.
No problem, man.
Until you pull me over for speeding, I should say. No, I'm kidding.
Pat, you're probably not going to be up in the Sioux City area, so you ain't got
no. You're right. All right, you're right. But I'll be leery if I am. I'll know you're up there patrolling. But 5-7, I give you credit. You don't like Nebraska, but you are kind and objective enough to give them one more victory than they won last year. So
I hate them. Hey, Pat, if a genie popped out somewhere and said, "I'll give you 3 wishes, kid," you know what I'd tell him? I'd say, number 1 would be Nebraska never wins another game in any sport in the rest of their existence, and I don't give a damn. I hate them.
Wow, even before money. Wow, you do hate them. All right.
All right, man. Have a good
day.
Thank you. That's
He's a
great.
good caller.
That's great. Okay, they were supposed to wrap up the Urban Meyer investigation
Today?
yesterday.
On a Sunday?
That's what they said.
Yeah, I'm nothing. I'm just waiting for him to come out.
They're expecting to announce something tomorrow or Wednesday.
I'm beginning to think that he's back, or they may slap his wrist with a 1 or 2 game suspension. Get rid of. I don't know. We'll see. Like I said, this is kind of uncharted territory with this involving Ohio State and Urban Meyer. Urban's never been in this. Florida never went this far. I mean, so we'll see. Like I said, I stated my opinion a long time ago. I think he should be gone. And if he did report, you do got to wonder about Gene Smith. If Gene Smith didn't, sounds like Gene Smith. But Gene Smith shouldn't be gone and Urban Meyer stay. That'll be a bunch of crap, and I think that's what's going to happen. Because of 73-8. That's his record there. I think
Coach was a freak. We had some of the stuff that he ordered. That was
John had that. That was John brought him.
Feeney brings his stuff.
Feeney was ready, man.
He was bringing the stuff on Saturday morning.
I didn't know what seriously, and I.
But you didn't. He kept showing me the pictures of the models and the stuff.
Me sound stupid, but I didn't know what half of the crap was.
Well, who does? I mean, I didn't either. Yeah. I mean, although you seem pretty familiar with the garter when he brought that up.
Well, you know what a garter is.
I sort of did. I had to look at the picture.
Well, if you've seen the old westerns, they have.
Okay, but
they have the mesh stockings and the garter.
I saw the picture of the model in it. Then I pictured you in it, and then I dry heaved. Then I dry heaved.
Feeney said that was the Skeffington's deluxe package.
Yeah, it goes with the cummerbund and tie. Wow, Skeffington's getting free advertising. I guess if you call that advertising.
Honest to God.
Guy's got issues.
Oh, yes. Oh, major issues.
And the only reason he is where he is because he's Earl Bruce's grandson.
Yeah.
Entitlement. Buddy network.
It's just ridiculous.
No, it is.
And to send it to your workplace?
It's going to be, no fear. Arrogance. Just doesn't, I got nobody to answer to. I'm Earl Bruce's grandson. I'll do as I please. But we'll see. I'm either going to have a real strong opinion of Ohio State and like them and respect them if they clean house. Because to me, this is a clean house type of offense when a woman gets battered and a guy has sex toys brought up to his.
And he's having sex in the office.
With not his wife, though, right?
No, not his wife.
I mean, just there's got to be changes.
Can you see me asking Jan if she wants to?
Wants you to wear a garter?
No. Hey, let's have sex here. The first thing she'd point to is the germ jar.
Yeah.
Get that out of here.
She's probably even wearing the conference table.
No, I don't think Jan even likes to sit on that couch, does she?
I've
never seen her sit on that couch.
Well, she's busy.
Yeah, but she looks at that couch. She kind of gives it that look.
That's a nice couch.
But that's not saying the couch is it's nice. It's the stuff that happens to the couch.
Nothing happens to the couch.
I'm not sure about that.
Nothing happens to the couch.
All right.
Do you look at us? Look at the whole crew. Do you think anything's going on that couch?
I think that couch is somebody's playroom.
The only thing that couch has rotten happened to it was Murph sleeping on it on Sundays.
Oh, God, that's why Jan won't sit on it. So, well, heck, we actually had a good discussion about Nebraska football. I like the caller who admitted he'd rather have Matt Campbell gone because I do think a lot of Iowa fans think that way but won't admit it. I do think I've got my picks. I have Purdue beating Iowa again there, and I have Jeff Brom moving ahead of Pat Fitzgerald and Matt Campbell as the coach that Iowa fans want to just get out of that job because if he beats Iowa again, Jeff Brom's going to be annoying. I think Purdue. I don't think they're going to be 10-2 or anything, but I also don't think Purdue's going to slip back to 2-10 or 3-9. He's one of those coaches. I think he's going to be pretty good at all times, and we'll see. I mean, we'll see. I've got Iowa 8-4, and I mean, it seems like I do that almost every year now, but it's just the way it is.
If your predictions go as predicted, this is going to be a fun season to hear the reactions because
it's going to be so up and down.
A 5-game winning streak.
Yes.
They're going to run the table, and then they lose that 3 in a row that you have predicted, and all hope is lost. And then they come back and win the final 2.
Yes.
And if they win a bowl game, everything's
all hope will be lost after they're 1-1 and lose to Iowa State. But then hope will be restored with the 5-game winning streak. But then it'll be pitchforks and time for a change after the 3-game losing streak. But then they beat Illinois and beat Nebraska. Then it'll be okay. We're 8-4. We have a chance to win a bowl game and go 9-4. 9-4 would be acceptable. 8-5. I'm just not. Well, 8-5 is going to be acceptable because 8-5 doesn't get anybody at Iowa fired. I don't care, and it wouldn't get Kirk Ferentz has. Kirk Ferentz could probably go 8-5 for another 5 or 6 years, and eventually the monotony would rub off on ticket sales and something like that. But I think a lot of people think that 8-5 is grounds for we need a change, and they're out there.
There's a lot of people that just
are bored.
Yeah,
they want something different.
Yeah,
and that's their right to their opinion, but they have to look at things realistically. If Kirk Ferentz wins 8 games, that's not doing his job at top-notch level, but it's doing his job. You can't complain about that. But 8-4, the bowl game is so huge with an 8-4 regular season record because there is a big difference right now between 9-4 winning a bowl game, 8-5 losing a bowl game. Yep. If he wins 9 games this year, that would only be the 7th time in 20 years they won 9 or at least 9 games. It doesn't happen a lot, so we shall see.
Okay, Hunter is responsible for this podcast
and the echo chamber.
He will listen to it thoroughly and transfer.
What if today, though, all of a sudden there's something weird? It's just the echo of like MC Hammer saying "too legit to quit." Oh. What if we have that through the whole thing?
You can't touch this. I like it. Well, that
was he too legit to quit?
Yeah, and you can't.
Touch this.
You can't touch this.
Okay. Well, like I said, I can't wait till this thing gets posted, and I'll know within minutes.
Can you ask whoever to get the other one off of there?
I don't. Oh, I guess it's Tyler. I mean, you can remove them from iTunes once you put them up there.
I believe so.
All right. Like I said, I rely on other people. I'll talk to Tyler.
I
am
about that. Disappointed. We had a lot of good calls, but no one whatsoever brought up 1600 today.
Oh. Nor you.
Going to do it. I wasn't going to do it. It's not all my responsibility.
You're right.
To do it.
So you're basically sending out a message to your minions right now.
Yeah.
Hey, guys,
Didn't you at one point say that we have more fake callers than
yes,
that was Saturday.
I said that before.
You said not today, though.
Yeah,
today
I haven't said anything.
No, yeah. You took a day off.
No, I can't be responsible.
And you haven't said anything about our text line. What's up with our text line?
Text line is jammed. Hello.
What's the difference between 1600 and the Maytag repairman? Every once in a while, somebody's cat gets stuck in a washing machine, and they do call the Maytag man.
All right.
We'll leave it at
that. Did I hear Tommy laughing in the background? So this will just ease right into the police reports in Halang, right?
Yeah.
That's what it'll do.
All right. Thanks,
we are going to take a break on YouTube. We'll be back in a couple minutes.
And if there is an echo, let me know as soon as you can on Twitter and be nasty about it. Just,
Yeah.
Allhawkeyes.com. Get your subscription today.
1-800-800-ROSE. 1-800-800-ROSE. Your FTD florist is the only number you need to know to send flowers anywhere in the country or Canada from anywhere in the country. 1-800-800-ROSE. It's so easy. Just remember one number. 1-800-800-ROSE. Your FTD florist. 1-800-800-ROSE. Remember, over the years, car keys have gotten extremely complex. Mike's Lock and E-Keys for Cars can generate the most technically advanced automotive keys on the market today. Mike's Lock and E-Keys for Cars can produce most